Hi, aloha, and welcome to Spirit Chat Radio. So, today I wanted to just give you an updated energy report. I was going to put it on Facebook and then I was going to put it in my newsletter, and I thought, well, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of going on that I felt like I needed to kind of have a longer conversation about. So, we're going to get into that and talk about what's happening with this frequency, the astrological stuff, and everything that's coming up um, moving forward into October and whatnot. But one of the things that I wanted to discuss was kind of how it's this energy wave, this frequency is starting to affect everybody. You might be noticing there's a huge thing going on with a lot of people right now, as far as how they're feeling physically. And what I mean by that is, we've talked about this before. I've talked to you about this on numerous occasions. As we're moving into this higher frequency, it's almost like you're going through a warp speed tunnel. Like it's like, Star Wars, whatever that you want to think about. It's almost like you're just kind of going through everything at warp speed. And what's happening now is, first we were dealing with some past issues, and then like karmic issues. First we were dealing with things like, I don't know, repetitive patterns and habits that we've had, repetitive relationships that we've had, a lot of stuff coming up from the past that maybe you thought that you dealt with okay, and then turns out you must not have, because it's now coming back up again, and it's like you're having to revisit an open wound, or like an old wound has been reopened, however you want to say that. And so it was kind of really frustrating for a lot of people, because they thought that they had put a lot of these things to rest in the past, a lot of these situations, a lot of, things with people, as insecurities have been coming up, old things that you went through, like emotionally, like where, like I said, if you're feeling insecure, if you are feeling like abandoned, if you are feeling like any emotions, like maybe you've been cheated on, or financial stress and worries, any of those things that you might have experienced, say, in the 90s or like 10 years ago, it's like it's all surfacing again. And you're like, really? I have to do this again? Like, really? I feel like I already did this. It wasn't a great time. I don't want to have to redo it again. It's like a whole thing. So we've been going through a lot of that, and as I've been kind of explaining that to everybody, it's kind of like, as we're moving into this new frequency, and this frequency that you're adjusting to, your body, your spiritual core, and yourself is adjusting to, it's a higher vibration, and it's pulling up lower vibration emotions that are kind of still hanging out in your energetic field. And so you don't realize they're hanging out there, but they're there. And as you start moving to a higher vibrational frequency, it becomes weighted baggage that you can't pull forward with you. So you're going to have to address those old repetitive things, or things that you've done in your past, maybe coming up again. And now it's like, well, now I'm suffering consequences for something that happened 10 years ago, or whatever, types of things. So there's that aspect, was one of the first things that we were going through. And then the next thing that was happening was an emotional aspect of everything, where there was a lot of emotional stress kind of surrounding a lot of things in your life: structure, relationships, money, all kinds of, all the pillars, all your foundational pillars might felt off kilter, or emotionally you might have felt triggered more than normal. And so you were dealing with, potentially, you might still be, but a lot of emotional triggers. and things where you're trying to want to fix a lot of things around you, but you don't exactly know how. So there's confusion surrounding the emotions. So we're having confusion and frustration, kind of not really sure what you're wanting, but knowing that there has to be some sort of shift. And so that's what I talked about on the last energy report, which is you want to now focus more of your energy moving forward on what it is that you truly want, instead of going, well, I want all of these things and I want to do this, I want to do that. We really need to kind of focus forward on figuring out what really is the core of your happiness and simplifying things. Well, then we rolled into relationship rockiness. So that's always amazing. The best time ever, right? So that doesn't mean relationships necessarily just with your significant other or your spouse. That could be relationships with friends. It could be relationships with family, relationships with significant others or spouses. We are in the middle of the relationship rockiness. So that's still going on. So as you can see, there's all these layers of our life. Think of it like this. Each of those layers hold a vibrational note, music note, I guess. And they hold a vibrational tone. And in order to harmonize everything, we have to tune all of the notes. We have to tune every aspect. So we have to tune the repetitive pattern and realize anything that we haven't resolved will come up again emotionally. You can tell me all day long you've resolved it, you've went over it backwards, forwards, and sideways, but if it's come up again, the universe is telling you, no, you really haven't. You might have thought you did, but not really. So you need more work here. So there's that. Then the emotional component of the stress and structure in changes, shifts and changes being made or having to be made in your life, and deciding what shifts need to be kind of going on right now and simplifying everything. Then revisiting relationships, whatever's happening on a rocky scale, then those relationships you will want to actually, as I get into kind of what I want you to do, I'll kind of talk about the relationship thing a little bit more. But you're going to have some rockiness potentially with, like I said, it could be friends, family, coworkers, spouses, but there might be some like craziness in the relationship area, shifts, changes, a lot of relationship dynamic shifts, meaning either you're redefining your relationship and or maybe you're letting go of your relationship, like one way or the other. Might be improving your relationship. I might be letting go of expectations, which might be very important, which I'm going to get to in a minute. And the other thing that people are really, really currently experiencing, and this is why I kind of wanted to do this podcast, was physical issues. You are going to find that there's going to be more people in your life or that you know dealing with some type of odd physical issue, something that's kind of come up out of the blue. It could be things that, like, it could be a heavy medical condition that maybe, like, you kind of didn't see coming, but then all of a sudden it's there, like something that you might have to, not necessarily you, but maybe friends, family, loved ones, just, you're going to notice it, and it's not probably just one person. You're most likely going to notice it with, like, lots of people right now. And it could be like anything from a major thing just coming up that you kind of seem blindsided by, or maybe they seem blindsided by, or they were kind of like, oh, that's, I'm fine. And then it's like, oh, you're not so fine. All the way to trips, falls. I cannot tell you the amount of trips and falls and weird things that feel like muscle aches, back pulls, neck issues, things that are causing you literally to kind of stop. And the thing with this is that I've been kind of telling everybody, and we're sort of really going to still be in a rocky ride in October, but it almost feels like everybody is on a roller coaster ride, no, not strapped in or whatever, and they're just being knocked around, and then you get off this ride and it's like, oh my gosh, my body is sore, like what is happening? And so I was noticing that there was so much happening with that with people I personally knew also, that I started looking into it psychically. And what I seen was, as we're moving into the frequency that we're moving into, as we're making all these adjustments, as we're tuning everything in, our physical body is feeling knocked around a little bit, because it's almost like, again, we're going through that warp speed, and our physical body is not prepared for the warp speed exactly, so it's kind of reacting with aches and pains and weird things as it's moving. So I've been telling people it's kind of like, we know we're orbiting, the earth is, spinning, but you can't feel it. This frequency, we're moving way faster, but you can't feel it, but your body can feel it. So your body's reacting to this frequency that is much faster than it's used to. And you have to remember, because your body's energy, right? And so your body, just because it's physical and it's reacting as far as like aches and pains and things like that, doesn't mean that it's actually like you hit something, like a roller coaster, you knocked around. It energetically can feel, and it results in aches and pains and muscles, and then some off balance stuff where people are starting to kind of, they don't catch themselves, like I said, they fall, or just weird off balance things. Again, you want to imagine it like you're on some type of carnival ride, and you're kind of like, whoa, and your brain's not really seeing what's happening, but your body's like, oh, okay, well, let's take a fall here. So there's a lot of physical issues coming up for people, and they're kind of slower recoveries, these things, but it's okay. It's not, you can get through these things, but do be aware of the physicalness of what's happening. There's a lot of noise going on right now, birds and traffic and all kinds of things. But anyways, so you might be noticing that you and or others around you are having a lot of weird physical things pop up. So that's the other thing. What I suggest that you do during this time, also with all of these components, all of these layers that are happening, where you are having to make adjustments and fine-tuning these areas, is one of the things that's coming up, especially for October, is concentrate more on tuning your own frequency. And what I mean by that is pay very close attention to what your own body's saying, how your own body's reacting, how you're reacting emotionally, and really be cautious of trying to calm anybody else's or help them to adjust their frequency. So what I mean by that is, if there's people in your life who are having like a lot of issues, they're angry, or they're struggling with some stuff, and they tend to be lashing out at you or doing, whatever. And normally you would do something where you're like kind of calming them, or trying to be there for them and try to be like, oh, it'll be okay. Don't worry about it. You're trying to shift their perspective. October's probably not the time that you're going to see success in shifting their perspective. And so I would really pick your battles there. I would conserve energy there, because you're really going to need it as you're tuning your own frequency. And you have to think of it like this. They are also, whether knowingly or unknowingly, they are trying to adjust and tune their own frequency. And you can't help that. There is no way that you can help to adjust their frequency. It's not a thing that you can do. So even if you feel like, well, I've helped them shift their perspective before. And of course, if somebody's, asking you for help, I'm not saying like don't help them. I'm saying be more cautious about just jumping in and trying to problem solve, or like be like, oh, you know what, I can help you do this. Or be more cautious when somebody's picking a battle with you to engage with that battle. Don't repeat these patterns that you've done in the past, because October, there's going to be a lot of feisty people out there that are really not understanding that their own frequency shifting, and they're uncomfortable in their own frequency. They just are. They feel uncomfortable all the way around, from the inner part of their frequency to the physical part of their frequency. They're uncomfortable, they're irritated, they're frustrated, and they're going to be lashing out and making all kinds of ruckus. And you don't want to be in that vibrational bubble that they're creating, and because you can get sucked in like a vacuum. So you would want to imagine it like, lots of things going on in my world today. You want to imagine it like, how, I don't know if you know how this happens, but maybe you've seen on TV, if a ship is starting to sink and kind of go down with it, you want the people, you want them to be away from the ship, because they can be sucked down in, or any debris or any whatever's around the ship, they can be sucked down in with them. You don't want to go down in their frequency. You don't want to be sucked into that frequency, because it's going to be hard to get out. And there's going to be a lot of people who are crashing and burning in October, so to speak. And I don't mean in the literal sense, but I mean that they're just going to be kind of lashing out and being sort of crazy, and like being super over the top emotional and aggressive, and dramatic, or just having issues. And some might be depressed and whatnot. And those are the hard ones, because a lot of times you want to reach out and help with the depression. You want to be like, things are okay. And you can do that. Like I said, just pick your battles, though. Do understand that you don't want to merge with that frequency that they're kind of projecting. So you want to really spiritually distance your energy and your own frequency from how much are you going to invest in that? How much are you going to invest into their frequency? That's what you really want to ask yourself, is how much of your frequency can you afford to invest into their frequency, and truthfully not knowing whether that's going to be a hit or a miss. So it's kind of like you're at the slot machines in Vegas. Could be a hit, could be a miss. So don't invest more of your frequency than you can afford to lose. Just have it at that. So you will want to be aware of the people who are surrounding you and kind of what's going on with that. The other things that hopefully I went to two thoughts. Hopefully you found that helpful. That's sort of the end of the thing with the energy report, because I really wanted to point out the thing about being careful about merging yourself with other people's frequency, understanding that we're going through this physical part right now of the adjustment of the tuning in, and understanding that everybody is going through it, and there's some people aware of it and some people who are not aware of it, and the people who are not aware of it are going to be really reacting to it in October, and you're going to really want to pay attention to where you're lending your healing frequency to. Because trust me, you're still going to need it. You're going to extra need it right now, and that's why I'm saying to be more cautious. You're really going to extra need it. So whatever's extra, then, do your thing. But the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and I will try to put this up in the links, is I haven't talked about this yet. I probably will do a podcast on this, though, because it's been such a crazy good experience that we've added in. We started working with and using these energy patches and or actually they're transdermal patches. They have vitamin patches, CBD patches. Um, what else do vitamin CBD energy patches. They have immune patches and things like that. So there are these little patches, if you can see the video, that you just put on you. And wow, especially during this time, I am shocked at what these patches have brought to the table for us who are sensitive. And like I do with all things, we've been testing them ourselves. I don't recommend anything that I do not test myself to you guys, because I know that that's, you guys know or try what I recommend. And I really am not recommending anything that I haven't tried myself, but I guess I'll talk a little bit about them just in case, because now you're going to be like, well, tell me more about these. And I don't have the patch things with me here to show you. But again, I'll post it below. But I cannot believe how much more energy the energy patches have given. And I've given them to different family members. And when I personally took it, I was so tired, or put it on the first time. My friend Brenda had brought them over and says, you got to try these. These are amazing. And I'm like, okay, what's it? You don't really think much of it sometimes when people tell you to try a vitamin, because you tried like 80 million vitamins, right? And so she brought them over, and right before she brought them over, I was literally, I was so tired. I thought, there's no way I'm getting through today without a nap. It's just not going to happen. And so I'm just trying to focus on my work and whatever. And she comes over and slaps them on me. She's like, here, you got to try these. Puts one vitamin, one energy, which is what I use. And I could not believe within 10 to 15 minutes, probably sometimes it'll take 20, I was way more alert, and in a natural way though. Like, the fogginess had lifted. I was totally alert, and it went through the rest of the day. And I thought, okay, this is weird. Like, was this a fluke? Like, just because you came over? Like, I don't know. And so the next day I'm like, okay, bring me some more of those, because I'm not really sure about them yet, but I need to try this again. So she brought them over kind of late, and then I was going to wait for the next day, and the same thing happened to me again, because I'm noticing an energy shift as we're going through this frequency myself. And it tends to have like a big energy drain on me. And so part of that day went by, and I started just feeling completely depleted, tons of stuff I had to do. And I'm like, okay, do you know what? If this is going to work, it's going to work now. So I'm just going to throw them on anyways. And so I put them on, and I was like, what in the world is in these patches? Because same thing happened. It took about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden I was awake, I was alert again, and I totally just went through my day all the way to the end of my day. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So I definitely ordered some. The link I'm going to put, just so that you know, full disclosure, is under me. It is an MLM type of thing. So if it's something that you like and try and want to do as an MLM, go ahead and do it. I wasn't going to do the MLM. I was going to be a customer. And then I thought, I may as well just do the MLM thing. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other on how you do it if you want to try it. But I loved it so much. So then I'm like, okay, I given to my kids, I'm like, okay, you guys got to try these, because they're also very sensitive. They had the same reaction. They were just like, what is in these? And then we just veered out from there. I started giving them to people, and everybody was just like, I would like some more of those patches. My son-in-law, who works nights and has a really hard time on the weekend adjusting to the time frame, he puts them on when he gets up, and he's like, these are like, and he does, just so you know, he doesn't like anything. And if there's going to be a naysayer, he'd be like, they're okay. He was like, okay, I need a sheet of those. So we've been incredibly impressed. What I've learned about Transdermal which shocked me to my core versus regular vitamins. You guys might know this. I might just be the one person in the world who does not know this. I had no idea that you only absorb like something like ridiculous, like 10% of or your oral vitamins or like prescriptions that you take. Your body only absorbs like 10% because of the way that your stomach digests, and that transdermal stuff, patches or medicine that goes through your skin, you absorb 60 to 70%. And then I was like, oh my gosh. First of all, I was mad because I'm like, why have I feel tricked all these years, because I am very, as you know, I am careful about working out, vitamins, that sort of thing, staying healthy. I have a lot to do, and I like to keep my energy high, and 2 grandbabies. And so I'm like, how much have I spent on vitamins over the years? And they're like 10% effective. Why don't they tell people this? And then I was like amazed when I learned more about transdermal, and I was like, wow, these are amazing. Now, the other thing that we've done with this specific patch, the transdermal, is they have CBD patches, and my daughter had actually had an injury, an odd injury, just like I was talking about with these energy reports, and she started using them for the muscle pain, and they worked wonders. She's like, these are amazing. Like, I can't believe the difference, like how much it's helped with pain. I've talked about CBD before. We like to use CBD at night when we're sleeping because none of us sleep well, and we're so sensitive. Me and my kids and my family members are so sensitive to energy at night and spirit activity and all this kind of stuff that we're constantly awoke by spirit activity and spirit contact and people talking to us and all this stuff. And so it's like, I swear it's busier in our nighttime sleeping as we are talking and having conversations with people in the daytime. So that being said, it's super nice when you can find something that helps you go into a deeper sleep where you're not in that, where you're constantly hearing spirit stuff. And so they have CBD patches. I cut them in half because my son had tried them. He cut them in half and said, okay, half is perfect for sleep. Because it's not like it knocks you out to where you don't wake up or anything. You wake up normal. You just tend to be in a deeper sleep, a more relaxed sleep. Your body's in a more relaxed sleep. Wow. Like all the other CBD products, this has now replaced because you can just... you'd have to just try it yourself. Like, I would not have believed this had I not tried it. And everybody I've given them to, they're the same way. They're just like, oh, sure, I'll try it. And then they're like, whoa, okay, this is crazy. What I love about the transdermal too, by the way, is you can half and quarter them. So you don't have to have a full patch, if like, especially a CBD or something. You can cut it in half or quarter it or whatever. And so I really wanted to talk to you about that. I should just do another whole podcast on it, but I feel like now I just did one on it, so I don't know if I will. But I will post a link for you in case that you want to check it out. They're amazing. Absolutely just amazing. And then also, for those of you who have been patiently waiting, I did want to let you know the spirit communication class is started, not started, ready. It's recording. I'm already in several modules. I've sent them out to my beta testers. They're like, this is awesome. So that is underway. And if I keep up my schedule, thanks to the energy patches, right? If I keep up my schedule, then I should be kicking that class out pretty soon. I do want you to know with the spirit communication class, that one will be offered differently. So that one will only be offered twice a year, and there will be a 10 to 14 day window that you can get in. I will keep you posted on when that's coming up so that you can get in, and then we won't offer it again for 6 months. It won't be one that's readily available all the time. So, okay, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please make sure to comment below. I do check all the comments. Any questions or comments or whatever, like if you like, liked it, and I will try to get back in more podcasting. I do have one on past lives to do, and I know I have it. I talked about it in my Keys to the Spirit World group, and I did get your questions. I will be doing that. I felt like I wanted to get this out because it was a little bit more urgent right away on the energy forecast. So I will be doing a past lives one soon. All right. So have the most amazing day, and join me soon. All right. Aloha. Bye.